Lastly, we have a game that is one of the most bizarre and strange games I've ever played. I did a member video of this called Did I Hallucinate This Game? Because my experience with it was unlike anything I've ever experienced playing any other game. And the title of this one, for realsies, is Illmatic Envelope Swamp. This doesn't look or feel like a real game. I had no idea what was going on at first, and even after I learned how to play it, I still kind of didn't have any idea what was going on. It's done by Milestone, or I think they've changed their name to Mebius, maybe? I'm not sure. They're known for making these overly complex, but sort of subpar shoot-'em-up games. We reviewed Raddergy's Swag on this channel, which is on this compilation with the game where I'm talking about right now. But they've done Keris, they did Chaos Field, they've done a bunch of really strange shoot-'em-ups that kind of turn the genre on its head for better or actually for worse. There's some story. I don't know what the crap it is. There's no telling. I don't know. The screen text, there's so much screen text. I'm sure even if I did read Japanese, it's just like 300 pages of like psycho schizophrenic ranting. I could probably spend 2 hours talking about how this game works, but I'm going to give you a general overview of it. There are 100 stages in this game, and you have to take different forks in the path to find them all. So you can't do them all in one run. You slowly fill them in over time by doing run after run after run. Each stage has a challenge in it that you have to complete to find these keys that will allow you to unlock the paths. You can't use the keys right away. You have to get to the end of one path, and whatever keys you've collected along the way, when you beat the final boss, it banks them for the next run. So you have to grind up the keys over time. The goals are in the top left, and it's usually like an easy one, a middle difficulty one, and a really hard one. Easy ones give bronze keys, medium ones give silver keys, and the really hard ones give gold keys. And those are really hard to do. And the way you complete these challenges is it shows an enemy type and then the way in which you have to kill them. And this really makes the game feel more like a puzzle game than a shoot 'em up, and that it's just way too complicated to explain in detail. Just be aware of the fact that there are about 8 different attack types that you access through various ways and nonsensical button combinations. Things like hold down the left trigger and then double tap right on the right analog stick while also pressing the triangle button, and then that will like shift you into a configuration mode. And then you can press down on the right analog stick, and then you can shoot out saw blades from your body, and then you move closer to enemies until your ultra gauge fills up, at which point you discharge that. But that moves you out of that mode into a different configuration. It's just stuff like that over and over and over again. And it's weird having to like play through the same stages over and over and over again, using different gameplay styles to dispatch these enemies to unlock these keys to slowly fill out this entire map. As for the presentation of the game, it looks absolutely insane, as you can see, but it looks insane in a good way. I love the vibrant and thrown together look of it. It doesn't really look like it was planned. It looks like a multi-medium collage, like when people glue cardboard onto an oil painting and then they have acrylic plexiglass on it. It's just this mismatched look, and I enjoyed that. It's a standout feature of the game for sure. But the soundtrack, on the other hand, much like all of the games done by this developer, it's just repetitive house techno with like a break beat that sort of fades into the background, and I just can't get into it. If you're gonna be replaying levels over and over and over again and grinding for hours and hours and hours and hours, you need catchy music, not music that's easy to ignore. And that's what this game has. All right, so we've talked about that, but let's focus on really encompassing what this game's like. Because I know a lot of you guys out there have not played crazy shoot 'em ups by these people and understand what I'm talking about. But you know what everybody has played? Street Fighter. So here's an analogy for you. Imagine you're playing Street Fighter, and on the Chun-Li fight, they told you that in order to beat her, you have to beat her using only uppercuts. Then after that, you fight E Honda, and you can only progress if you win using kicks this time. And every stage is like that through the whole game. It gets old really, really quickly. But they want you to play through it like 500 times, and each time you fight Chun-Li, instead of uppercuts this time, you have to do dragon uppercuts, you know, to get a gold key so that you can bank 55 gold keys to, on your 80th run, actually fight M. Bison and beat the game. But then you find out that that's only path number 4 out of 67 paths, and you need to go through the whole game again, this time playing as Vega, and you can only win by timing out. every match this time. And that'll give you the 43 bronze keys. And if you beat Blanca in the 3rd stage with only an odd number on the timer, then you bank your... So it's just that sort of stuff over and over again. It gets really old really quickly. And I had to watch a video explaining how to play this game. And no joke, guys, the video was called A Quick Guide to Illmatic Envelope Swamp. And it was over an hour long, and it barely touched on the basics. And it didn't even hit the stuff I was trying to figure out how to do. I could not believe that. This is one of the most complicated and unwieldy games to play that I have ever seen. There's nothing like it. Milestone's games are overly complex, but this is the worst offender by far. Just the worst. I loved the graphical presentation of this game, and I like, in theory, the idea of unlocking these keys and unlocking this map. They just made the barrier for entry too high. This game is just too complex. Seems like the kind of game you could devote days and weeks and months and years to perfecting and unlocking everything, but at the end of the day, it's just not that fun to play. Even once you get a hang of the controls and the weird idiosyncratic things it requires you to do, I commend them on their insane nonsense, but Illmatic Envelope Swamp, is that what it's called? Illmatic Envelope Swamp. It's just a 6 out of 10. I would recommend it for fun, but I don't even know where you'd find it. This physical release is almost impossible to get.